The sun was beginning to set over the rolling fields of her farm. Crickets chirped, and the faint scent of fresh hay lingered in the air. To any passerby, she seemed like any other farmer, tending to her crops, feeding her livestock, and keeping to herself. But those who knew her story or had ever served beside her knew she was far from ordinary. She wasn't just a farmer. She was a legendary marine sniper, a woman whose precision and skill had earned her respect in the most dangerous situations imaginable. On this quiet evening, that past seemed like a distant memory. She repaired a fence, watered the vegetables, and made sure the chickens were safe. Her rifle sat in the barn, cleaned and ready, but there was no indication that it would be needed tonight. She had survived combat zones and high-stakes missions, but here, in the calm of her farm, the world seemed deceptively safe. Then, in the distance, a rustle caught her attention. Shadows moved between the trees along the edge of her property. A gang, reckless and desperate, was making its way toward her farmhouse, confident in their ability to intimidate a solitary woman. They thought she would be easy prey, unaware of her past, unaware that the quiet, unassuming farmer they saw was a trained warrior capable of lethal precision. As they approached, laughing and brandishing weapons, she remained calm. Her hands moved instinctively to check her gear. Every sense honed in combat was alert now. The stakes had changed. This was no longer a peaceful evening on the farm. This was a test, and she was ready. The gang had no idea what was coming, and by the time they realized who they were dealing with, it would be far too late. The gang moved closer, their confidence growing with each step. They shouted threats and jeers, thinking they had nothing to fear. To them, she was just a solitary woman on a quiet farm, an easy target for intimidation and theft. She didn't panic. She remained in the shadows near the barn, her movements calm and deliberate. Every instinct she had developed as a marine sniper kicked in. Situational awareness, timing, and patience. Her eyes scanned the area, noting every tree, fence post, and obstacle that could work to her advantage. As the intruders approached the farmhouse, one of them kicked the door open carelessly. The others followed, laughing, unaware that their every move was being watched. They didn't see the glint of her rifle barrel reflecting the last rays of the setting sun. They didn't see the careful positioning she had chosen for herself. Then came the first sound that made them freeze. A precise shot that shattered a nearby fence post, startling the gang. Panic replaced their confidence. They spun around, trying to locate the source, but she was already moving, silent and efficient. Another shot rang out, this one grazing the ground near their feet, sending dirt and gravel flying. She was sending a clear message. She was in control. Every movement was calculated, every action precise. The gang members exchanged nervous glances. Fear began to ripple through their ranks as they realized this was not a woman to intimidate. They were dealing with someone trained to neutralize threats with surgical accuracy. The raid, which they had expected to be a quick and easy operation, was turning into a nightmare. The tables had turned, and she had the upper hand. By the time they truly understood who they were facing, the night would already be over, and their arrogance would cost them dearly. The gang's panic was palpable now. Their earlier bravado had vanished, replaced by confusion and fear. They fumbled with their weapons, shouting at each other, trying to regain control. But it was too late. Every move they made was being watched, calculated, and anticipated. She stepped out from the shadows, her rifle trained on them with unwavering focus. Each finger on the trigger was steady, a testament to years of training and battlefield experience. "Stay where you are," she commanded, her voice calm but sharp. It carried authority, the kind that silenced the room instantly. The gang froze. They hadn't expected resistance, let alone someone who could dominate them so completely. One member made a sudden move toward the farmhouse door. A sharp click echoed, the sound of her rifle being readied. Another shot rang out, not to harm, but to knock his weapon from his hands, sending it clattering across the wooden floor. She advanced slowly, making every step deliberate. Her eyes never left the intruders, reading their body language, predicting their next move. She wasn't just defending her farm. She was sending a message. No one would disrespect her or her property. A second intruder tried to escape toward the barn. Before he could reach it, she fired a precise shot that cut the lights, knocking over equipment and blocking his path. Fear and disbelief etched into their faces. They were realizing too late that she was no ordinary woman. By now, the gang was cornered, their arrogance shattered. She gave them one final warning, her calm tone contrasting sharply with the chaos around them. "Leave. Now. And never come back." Hesitant, beaten, and thoroughly terrified, they scrambled toward the road, leaving the farm and their pride behind. The night was silent again. Her farm, once threatened, now stood safe, and she remained the unyielding force that no one would dare challenge again. The night returned to its eerie calm. Crickets chirped in the fields, and the scent of hay and soil hung in the cool air. The gang had fled, their fear palpable even from a distance, leaving the farm untouched but forever changed. She walked slowly across her property, rifle slung over her shoulder, eyes scanning every shadow. Years of marine training had taught her that even when a threat seemed over, vigilance was essential. Every fence post, every barn corner, every darkened tree line had been noted. Nothing would catch her off guard again. Her mind replayed the raid. How quickly confidence had turned to panic. How arrogance had crumbled under the weight of skill and strategy. It was a reminder that preparation, focus, and calm control could turn even the most desperate situation into a victory. She checked her equipment carefully, ensuring every weapon and tool was accounted for. Then she moved to secure the farmhouse doors, double-checking locks and reinforcing weak points. Her farm wasn't just her home. It was a sanctuary, and she wouldn't allow anyone to threaten it again. From the barn loft, she surveyed the fields one last time, making mental notes of potential blind spots. Her experience as a sniper had taught her to anticipate, plan, and adapt. And she applied those lessons now to her peaceful rural life. As dawn began to break, casting soft, golden light over the fields, she finally allowed herself to relax. The farm was safe, the intruders gone, and the lessons of the night had been clear. Underestimate her at your own peril. The night had tested her, but she had emerged unshaken. She wasn't just a farmer. She was a warrior, a protector of her land, and someone who commanded respect no matter who dared to trespass. By morning, the aftermath of the raid was evident. The farm stood intact, a testament to her skill and preparation. The gang members, humiliated and terrified, had fled into the surrounding woods, their arrogance replaced by a deep, lasting fear. Word of the incident began to spread through the nearby town and eventually online. Stories of the legendary marine sniper who had defended her farm captured people's imaginations. Local authorities arrived later to investigate. They found no evidence of violence inflicted on the intruders. Only signs of the raid, the trampled fence, footprints in the mud, and a few scattered belongings left behind. Witnesses recounted how the gang had fled in terror, and the authorities quickly pieced together the truth. The woman was no ordinary farmer. She met with the local sheriff and calmly explained the events. Her military background and the precision with which she had handled the situation left officials both impressed and relieved. The sheriff shook his head in disbelief. "I've never seen anything like that." "They didn't stand a chance," he said. "The gang faced consequences in the coming days. Arrests, charges, and community outrage over their reckless actions. They had underestimated someone who had faced far greater dangers in her career, and they had paid the price." Back on the farm, she reflected on the night's events. She had defended her home, her livelihood, and her peace of mind, all while maintaining control and discipline. Her reputation as a legendary marine sniper had only grown, not through boastful stories, but through quiet, decisive action. The farm returned to its peaceful routine, but the lesson was clear. Courage, skill, and preparation are forces to be reckoned with. And in the end, respect is earned, not given. Those who dared challenge her learned that lesson the hard way. Her legacy, both as a protector and as a marine, was unshakable, and her farm would remain untouchable for anyone foolish enough to try again. Thank you so much for watching this story till the end. I hope you enjoyed it and maybe even learned something from it. If you'd like to hear more stories like this, full of life lessons, drama, and emotions, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you'll never miss an update. Your support means the world, and it helps me keep bringing you more inspiring and unforgettable stories. Stay tuned because more amazing stories are on the way.